Today on Built Manufacturing, we're going to be pulling apart a rim and tire and putting it back together for Oscar. I start by removing air from the tire. Then I take off the central tire inflation valve. Then I remove the 20 nuts that hold together the bead lock system. In order to break the bead on the tire, I use the Little Buddy bead breaker from Northwestern Tool. The model number is 71600. All you're going to need to do this is a couple shims, like so. These are just 1/2 inch stuff I had laying around. You're also going to need a couple spoons. I got some really short ones. I just thought they'd be easier to travel with if I did have to do this on the road. So I don't have a set of big ones. But all you're going to need to do is get a little separation with this. Stuff this guy in there. Now you don't need to get it too incredibly far in because this will bind it into the bead. And then this will press the bead out in entirety. Once you get it far enough out, you're going to want to take these two shims and put one on either side. Now you're just going to repeat this process in thirds or quarters depending on what kind of success you've had. You'll notice the backside took a little bit longer. There was some water damage and some rust sort of holding it in. You'll also notice when you remove the back side of the rim that the valve will catch. And at this point you need to flip the tire up to take the pressure off the valve, and then you can take it out with a breaker bar. To take the valve out, you just have to remove one nut. Because I am not keeping this tire, I'm going to remove the last piece of the bead lock. Before the bead lock can be removed, you'll have to take out 4 bolts and 2 brackets. Just spiral this guy out of there. So find one end and you lift it up and then spiral it out. Okay, now you're going to put it together very similar to the way you took it apart. So I have a Goodyear MVT tire here, as well as a new O-ring, powder coated parts. This is the bracket for the CTIS, as well as the bolts. And then obviously the rim, your bead lock, as well as the brackets for the bead lock. Then I also have, some people call this duck butter. This is to mount the tire back on. Makes a huge difference. First thing I do is vacuum out the tire just to make sure there's no pieces or parts or, dust rolling around in there. Then you're going to put the bead lock in the same way it came out. If you have any issues with it sort of getting stuck, since it is rubber on rubber, you can add some duck butter or some sort of lubricant to help you put it in. You're going to want to push it all the way to one side, so then you can put your pieces back on again. So you can see how the bracket as well as the nut go on the inside, on the air side, as well as just the bolt head that goes towards the actual rim itself. Okay, once you have those parts in, all you have to do is line it up with the rest of the tire
putting some of the duck butter on there helps. Alright, so before I can put this inside the tire, you can see how that's all flush. There's duck butter on everything. Before I can put that in there, I need to put the stem right here. Also put a new O-ring on the stem itself. Then I throw the O-ring in here. Forgot to do this once or twice before. I had to pull the rim apart. So then I just wrestle the tire up, put half of the rim in, the large half of the rim in, and then I lay it down and I basically find some shims to push it up. Now you can see I put shims in there to lift the rim. And that'll allow me to thread at least a couple nuts on the studs. Now, this is the part I usually wouldn't do with hand tools, but being incredibly anal, all the nuts are powder coated, so I don't want to throw an impact on there and just completely strip off all the money that I already paid in powder coat. So you'll see me doing all this by hand just because I'm being really difficult. Now the last piece to put on here is the bracket for the central tire inflation system. And for whatever reason, on all my other wheels, it had jam nuts to put on here, but on this one, it's the same nuts as the rest of the lock. I don't know why. I think it's just one of those things where they misplaced them and they had a bunch of these laying around.
All the silver you're seeing on the nuts and the studs, that's actually anti-seize.
That's it for the tire assembly. Check out the blog if you want to learn a little bit more about this, as well as what it costs to put one of these guys together. Thanks for watching.